Right, top of the morning, top of the evening, top of the night, whatever time zone you are on, we are live. I would like to remind everybody, you can look up, you can get up, we can get up, we can go up. You see the title. Let's get into this. All right. Wait a minute for Zoom, because I did update. Hello to the people in the bushes. Hello to the people who will bypass. Hello to the onlookers. So let's get into this. To the regular supporters, to the bypassers, to the beautiful people, to the cantankerous people, to the people who really believe in fighting the power. On behalf of the people. Well, let's get into this music.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nub. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still lights of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of Harry armed women liberationists and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose. The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Keys, nor sung by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with coke. The revolution will not bite germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
Just like that right there. All right, let's get into this. All right, you see the title. Charges have been filed. I'm gonna go with the charges. Before we get to the charges, let me get to these election results. Atlanta, 5 officers, charges were brought. We're still waiting for officers in Breonna Taylor case to be charged. It was something about a hearing pertaining to Ahmaud Arbery murderers. But in the midst of protesting and a pushback against an unjust system, there have been more casualties of innocent African-American people who have just been bystanders. Supplying people with food and different things like that. Again, protesting what they deemed as riots and an uprising is not new. We saw it in the 90s, saw it in the 60s, we saw it in the 1920s. In the 1920s, it was about self-defense. For African-American people, from my perspective, when I look back, it has always been about police brutality, equality, being treated like first-class citizens, as well as human rights. Now, I want to get to election results first, because Republicans have been losing their seats. Republicans will be challenged. Now, just because you're a Democrat, don't mean you're going to do right and have the back of the American people. So let's get to this. Ferguson. The mayor won the election. An African-American female won the election. And hello to the people in the chat again. Hello, Flower Bomb, I see you. Hello to the people in the bushes again. Hello to the regular supporters. Hello to people who just be bypassed. Let me get to this. So, let me go back to election results, because what I want to say is this. Just because you vote a person in office does not mean you don't hold them accountable once they get in office. Just because you vote a person in office don't mean you stop doing the work. And by the way, shout out to California. I see you. Rest of the world, I see you. Africa. One love, baby. One love. All right. Let me do this screen share. Apologies for any loud clicks in the background. Let us remember we are resilient people. We keep it moving. We can look up, we can get up. Zoom, I'm not liking the delay I'm seeing on this from your updates. All right, so here it is. Ella Jones is elected to first Black mayor of Ferguson. Voting matters. As you well know, DAs, district attorneys, bring the charges, criminal cases, right? They prosecute. Then we have the prosecutor's office. You have to vote for judges too. You have to vote for the prosecuting attorney. You do the vote. You vote these people in office. You either vote them in or you vote them out. And if you don't vote, should you really be talking? What's astonishing to me is year after year, I've seen a lot of African-American people and others say they didn't know this. And the part that astonished me about that is that when I teach, when I'm doing my organizing, community organizing, this is one of the things I teach. Who's running, how to vote, how to register people to vote, how to recall elected officials. All right, Ms. Jones, she's in. All right, she's in there, African-American woman. First female mayor, first Black elected mayor, first. All right, so there we go. Also, some Senate seats are up for grabs. Congress seats are up for grabs. You have people running. These are the people who legislate for you, your senators and your congressmen. And she got it. Some Senate seats. Some Republican challengers have been bumped out. Due to election results. Let's get to this. Let me move on. Okay, so let's go. Let's get off into this. Let's get off into these charges. All right. Let me start with the one everybody want to know about, George Floyd. Then I will work to the Atlanta officers who were fired. This video, I'm getting past all commercials in the background. And all additional talking, I want to be right to the point, to where they specifically start bringing the charges. Again, all four officers in Floyd's case are being charged with second-degree murder. Okay, this person cut the that person who posted that cut the charge. And I'm not getting ready to show all 20 plus minutes. Okay, no, okay. What I saved, I don't want to show. None of those. Let me pull up a different video. This is just a bunch of reporters talking through. Okay, he's just doing a bunch of talking. Let's get to these charges. Now, charges have been brought, but we still know that it has to go to trial, right? Still has to go to trial, right? But I find it extremely funny that the district attorney didn't want to bring the charges in George Floyd's case, and he deferred to the attorney general. Now, also pertaining to the case here in this state, the African-American female who was punched in the face. Well, as I said, I went directly to messages directly to the attorney general here, the lieutenant governor here, and the prosecutor in Ann Arbor. And what the attorney general here said after the fact is, now they're looking into prosecuting the case. They're looking into prosecuting the case pertaining to the woman who was punched multiple times in Ann Arbor. My eye is on that because it is my state. I will see how it goes. And then again, when I am directly messaging people in authority to make decisions, I don't have time for them to be on the opposite side pontificating and taking all day long. And so she's been pushed, to do her job. Okay, let me pull up this video again because the video they showed earlier was an hour. I'm not getting ready to sit up and wait an hour to get to the charges. I just want to get directly to charges. I'm bypassing Mr. Ellison doing all that talking about. Let's roll down to the charges. All right, here it is. Here it is. We'll start them right here. All right, here it is. So let's do the screen share on this. All links to videos shown, all links will be in the descriptions below to all videos shown. So you can go view the videos in their entirety for yourself. Edited. So here we go. Charges, George Floyd. After we get finished with these charges for George Floyd, we're gonna roll right on into the charges for the Atlanta police officers, and there have been 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 who have been charged in Atlanta. 4 were African American, 1 was Caucasian American.
Us time, particularly people who have suffered for decades and centuries of injustice, to be patient. And yet we did get that time. And together, a very strong, experienced team, which included County Attorney Mike Freeman, his team, and my team, we reviewed the evidence together with the BCA, and we have something to announce today. Before I announce it, I want to say thank you for the patience of the people who they've shown me and our entire team in pursuit of justice. And I'm here to make these announcements right now. First, today, I filed an amended complaint that charges former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin with murder in the 2nd degree for the death of George Floyd. I believe the evidence available to us now supports the stronger charge of 2nd degree murder. We've consulted with each other and we agree. Second, today arrest warrants were issued for former Minneapolis police officers J.A. King, Thomas Lane, and Tu Tao. Finally, I'd like to announce that today, Hennepin County Attorney Michael Freeman and I filed a complaint that charges police officer King Lane, and Tao with aiding and abetting murder in the second degree a felony offense. I strongly believe that these developments are in the interest of justice for Mr. Floyd, his family, our community, and our state. I'm the lead prosecutor in this case. I'll be speaking and addressing the public, but this is absolutely a team effort. We are working together on this case with only one goal: justice for George Floyd. I want to thank first Mr. Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman, who has been a true partner in this matter at every step of the way. His experience and insight have been invaluable and will continue to be counted on by the team. I also want to thank County Attorney Freeman's professional staff who have cooperated and worked together with my staff and the investigating officers from the very minute this case started. I also want to thank Superintendent Drew Evans of the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension and his professional staff for the care and speed with which they are conducting this investigation. And I want to thank especially U.S. Attorney Erica McDonald and Special Agent in Charge Rainer Drolskagen, who are conducting a parallel federal color of law investigation. I have heard directly from the leadership of the Department of Justice that there is full support for her leadership in pursuit of her investigation. And as she put it so well, one team, one goal, one mission. I agree 100%. As I said earlier, I thank Mr. Floyd's family. I think, and I can speak for Mr. Freeman and I jointly thank them, along with U.S. Attorney McDonald. We thank the community for their patience and allowing us the time and space we need over these days to lay these charges. As it is so hard to do, I now ask for continued patience. This case continues to be under investigation. We will not be able to say very much publicly about the investigation, except that we encourage anyone who believes that they have evidence in this case to come forward and to be cooperative with the investigation. As we develop the case for prosecution, which will also not be able, we will not be able to say very much publicly about it, because our job is to seek justice and to obtain a conviction, not to make statements in the press, but to do our talking in court. So I ask for your patience again while we limit our public comments in pursuit of justice. I also ask for your trust that we are pursuing justice by every legal and ethical means available to us. I also want to add a word of caution. The investigation is ongoing. We are following the path of all of the evidence. Wherever it leads, we are investigating as quickly as we can because speed is important. We're also investigating as thoroughly as we can because being complete and thorough is critically important, but it takes time.
Okay, I'm gonna stop.
The reason thoroughness is
charges. All right. We know every single link in prosecutorial change must be adhered to according to what they're saying, but we've also seen them jump progression when they want to. So I'm gonna move on to, okay, second degree murder. The charges got updated for Derek Chappell. First, they was trying to go third degree murder. Like I said, third degree murder was smack on the wrist. Now he's being charged with second degree murder for 3 officers. It needs to be first degree murder. And that is Derek, and it's the other 2 officers that had their knee on his lung, on his back. Again, it was 3 officers on him at all times. With the 4th officer sitting up, being very cynical. Don't do drugs, kids. This is what happened if you do drugs, kids. Him. Aiding in the bed. So while the charges have been bumped up and the investigation is ongoing, I'm going to go directly with the #1 forensic pathologist in the world scene. They went on his neck And if they were not on his back, pressing his lungs down, he would still be here. First-degree murder. So while they're upgrading charges and updating charges and still conducting their investigation, they can run them charges up. All right, let's go to these officers in Atlanta. Like I said, we are still waiting for officers and Breonna Taylor case to be charged. Protest is still going on. Why wouldn't it? It's around the world. Africa has had a lot to say to allegedly leaders over here or people who ran over there, and they did them to black leaders over here. So when you see a lot of actors and some billionaires speaking out who have been silent before, and some people who have come out, who didn't come out and talk about this and cover this the way that they set up and wanted to cover, and hear me good, the way that they wanted to cover stuff like Jesse Smollett and R. Kelly and all of that. So we see them sit silent on stuff like this and not come with that same passion. Did we not? Yeah. So Africa been calling them out, as well as Don Lemon, who just been very vocal with it, calling them out, as well as others calling them out, saying, where's your voice now? I've been hearing a little crickets from you lately. I've been hearing a little silence from you lately. Where are your voices now? You want to come out, yell and rah-rah and jump on all the dramatic stuff that you really have no evidence for. You saw this, though. The world saw it. So the world has been protesting on solidarity against police brutality. But let's get to these and police unions. What I find interesting as I pull up this next video is that in Atlanta, police unions now have been pulling their police out of protecting or servicing part of the Atlanta areas, because they've been saying, we don't want our officers to be attacked and charged and, you know, get terminated. And so we're going to pull them out. All right. It's the dirty games that they play. U.S. psychology at its finest. And we just heard Keith Ellison ask to wait. Okay, African-American people been waiting over here for 500 years for real justice. Yeah. And they always want to say wait and peacefully protest. Okay, yeah, that's U.S. psychology. We've been waiting. All right, let's get to these other. Then they want to turn around and start pulling police officers out. All right. Whatever. The people show up and start policing in. We got groups who can show up and police peacefully, civilly, without a threat of violence. They like to use that word too, without the threat of violence. Let me get to this next DA, who's also running. Do the share on this so he can do some talking. I'm gonna turn him up because he seems he talks kind of low to me. Right, Fire Mama, they do need to be held accountable. Yeah, they are protecting them. Right, Fire Mama, and yes, we all need to vote, not just in presidential elections, but you have got to do it at the state and the local levels. You have got to, because you are the ones that's voting prosecutors, DAs, judges, mayors. That's done locally. Then when you vote in your state representatives, you're sending them up there to represent you on the state level. And when you vote in your federal representative, you're sending them to Washington, D.C. to represent your voice and to legislate on your behalf as a person. Let's get to this. Okay, this is Atlanta. And the incident happened. And then 2 days later, they came with some charges. Took them 2 days, no more than 3, to turn around and charge these officers again. 4 are African American, 1 is Caucasian American.
It is not indicative of the way that we treat people in the city of Atlanta. And it certainly isn't indicative of the way that we treat our children. And in this case, this incident involved
and they were not even
2
protests.
children.
They would just
and I'm sure many
people
people might have the question, why today? You know, why are we doing this today? And I want to tell you, one of the reasons that we're doing this today, and one of the reasons that you'll see from our presentation, is because the information
from Atlanta, at least,
is before us. The information that allows us to draw conclusions regarding probable cause, that information is available to us. And that is a lot different from many of the cases that our office handles through our PIU unit, because in many of those cases, there is no body cam information. There is no dash cam videotapes. We don't have witnesses because in those cases, generally, our witnesses are already deceased. And that means that the remaining witnesses are often just police officers. And in many of our cases, in fact, in most of our cases, the police officers refuse to accept interviews with the DA's office. But in this case, it's different because the information is here. And as I say to my fellow prosecutors across the country, if the information is available, people in the communities ask, well, why can't you move forward?
And that's what we are attempting to do today. Minnesota.
If you'll start.
And that's the problem in Kentucky.
So this incident occurred on the 30th of May of 2020. And it occurred between 9:30 p.m. and 9:49 p.m. And at the end of the presentation, if it is okay with our 2 victims that are here, we're going to play a portion of the tape so that will indicate the time period that we're talking about in this presentation. So the people involved are 3, Chancellor Myers, Tanaya Pilgrim, and Messiah Young. And I believe Ms. Pilgrim and Mr. Young are here today. I do not believe Mr. Myers is here. Is that correct?
Okay, let me, hold on.
My goodness, that...
I'm stopping this because I'm not going to show commercials. Who posted this? The news channel that posted this, they got commercials in there. I'm not showing commercials. So let me bypass that commercial and get back to the information. But Fire Mama, what he was saying was many times they don't have body cam footage from the police department, or the police department likes to tamper with it. And that's a Kerenszism on it, because that's been factually proven that police departments, whatever. Anyway, what he was saying was, okay, many times from his perspective of being a DA, bringing the charges, right? Bringing criminal charges against officers. He said the witnesses are either dead like Breonna Taylor, like George Floyd, like others, okay? He said they're either dead, and usually there aren't any additional witnesses, where in this case we have some. He said, and usually it's harder to bring a case because you don't have video footage. You don't have the video footage from the body cam on the police. You don't have the video footage from the dash cam in the police cars. He said, well, this incident, when you have it, an instance when you have it, you already got your probable cause based on the evidence that's shown in the video footage. So why wait? And we have seen, we sit up and wait in Minnesota. We still waiting in Kentucky. We saw what they did in Georgia, the other part of Georgia, with Ahmaud Arbery. We see this time at the time. He's saying when you have probable cause, because you have the evidence on video, and you, what are you waiting for? Bring the charges. And for the female that's running against him, I don't know if she's gonna win, because she ran out and said that she's African American too. He's rushing it. Well, she's missing it. Like he said, you already got probable cause. You already saw the video footage. What are you waiting for? Her? You rush it and then you mess up the investigation. No, he's like, no, you already got the probable cause. You already got every video footage you need in the world. You got all the video footage you need in the world. Stop playing them games. That's what he's saying. Stop playing games. Bring the charges. And get your behind in court and litigate. I don't know. And that's my perspective. But let's get back to what he's saying.
So the Miss Pilgrim, who was the owner of the car in this case, her property was damaged, and these are the conclusions that we were able to reach based upon our investigation. It is clear from viewing the information made available to us that during this incident, she was terrified. She was tased, and when you get a chance to see the tape, you'll see that it was a vicious act, the tasing. It went on for some time while she was shaking and screaming out in pain. After the tasing took place, she was then taken out of a car and thrown to a paved street, and she was handcuffed with the, what are those things called?
Zip tie.
Zip ties, I want to get the name right. She was then taken to a police vehicle, a transport vehicle. In the vehicle, there were 3 other women. Ms. Pilgrim asked that she receive a mask since she was in close proximity of the other 3 individuals, and she was not given a mask. She was taken to the Atlanta Detention Center, and during this whole incident, she was never charged by the police department.
So
with respect to Mr. Young, as you might have already observed from the video, he was the driver of the vehicle, and what he attempted to do at the very beginning of the incident was to motion to a friend and to ask him to get into the vehicle, and that young man was Chancellor Myers. And you can hear in the videotape, Mr. Young is asking the police to simply let Mr. Myers get into his car. And at the time, Mr. Myers was being thrown to the ground, and you can hear Mr. Myers crying. And Mr. Young is still asking, could you just let him get in my car? Well, one of the things that we have been able to conclude from the video is that you can actually hear the police tell or say to Mr. Young, go or go to jail. That was what they said to him, was to go or go to jail. And when they said go or go to jail, he then left and he proceeded down the street. But shortly after that, the police caught up with him. They then attempted to force his door open. You can see one of the policemen with an object, a baton, attempt to break into the window, and he struck the window several times. And finally, one of the officers used a device to break the window. And after that happened, Mr. Young was tased by the police. You can see Mr. Young attempting to protect Mrs. Pilgrim, to shield her with his own body while he is being tased as well. The policeman, one of the policemen was able to then pull Mr. Young out of the car onto the pavement. And when he was pulled on the pavement, it looks like much of the force landed on his left arm. And he has now suffered a fracture of his wrists, a very large gash in his left arm. And in fact, he has received 24 stitches from the injuries that he received from being pulled from the car and thrown to the paved street.
And so,
After
see why this district attorney in Atlanta, you hear him. Like he said, he's not going to sit up and wait when he has probable cause video footage. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for, and what are we waiting on? What do these district attorneys be waiting for, and what do they be waiting on? Especially when you have evidence. He said it's different when witnesses are dead, okay, and you don't have the body cam footage, and you don't have the dash cam footage. He said, and a lot of times that will slow down the process of a case. But he said in cases where you have video footage, you have video evidence, electronic evidence, digital evidence, bring the charges. If you know you got probable cause, you know there's probable cause, go ahead and bring the charge. But a lot of these DAs that people vote on like to sit up and not do their job, like to sit up and abuse their authority and their powers in office. And then the people won't hold them accountable. Or they're working for a selective few. We're still waiting for police officers to be charged in Breonna Taylor's case. We're still waiting for police officers to be charged in a bunch of cases. We are still waiting. Let me get to protests. Can we flash back? Can we flash back a minute? You know I got a flashback. Got a flashback. I'm going to flash back. And before I flash back to 1967, again, Michigan riots, Detroit, Michigan riots, where the military was called in, that started due to police brutality. City took them 3 days, put that fire out in my state, downtown Detroit, Michigan, 1967. Mitt Romney's father was the governor of the state then. Before I get to him, I have to go to Malcolm X, because he said years ago, the freedom fighters, the human rights leaders, civil rights leaders, and the justice leaders that were African American that we had years ago have been saying these things. They said these things years ago. Like, what is Congress doing? Okay. You have congressmen and women and senators. You're sent there to legislate on behalf of the people. And when incidents like this occur, what are you doing? You can create a bill and pass a bill. Just like that. Just like that, to help people out. From the federal level. We know we got Pinocchio in office. Let's flashback. Come on, Malcolm X. There's some leaders who made too much sense. And this deals with the psychology of the United States of America, with US psychology, being told to wait, being told to peacefully protest, being told to wait year after year after year, being told it takes time. We just heard Keith Ellis say, give us time, wait, you know, as you continue to peacefully protest. Okay, we still wait. That's psychology. You go ahead and stand down peacefully. Get in line, get in order peacefully. That's psychology. For please, we don't want the other groups to come out and defend themselves against the cops. I believe in self-defense. I'll say it again. Don't confuse self-defense with violence. You look at the violence the police have ensued against American citizens. You threaten my persons, I will defend myself.
Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters,
yes, 24
our friends and our enemies. When you live in a poor neighborhood, you're living in an area where you have to have poor schools. When you have poor schools, you have poor teachers. When you have poor teachers, you get a poor education. And when you get a poor education, you are destined to be a poor man and a poor woman the rest of your life. Poor education, you can only work on a poor paying job. And that poor paying job enables you to live again in a poor neighborhood. So it's a very vicious cycle. And usually these bad housing conditions result from the fact, as Mr. Gray has pointed out, of absentee landlords, people who are rich and live downtown and let you and I live up here in the shack. Actually, it's a form of 20th century slavery. And what you and I have to let the man know is we are peaceful people.
Yeah.
We are loving people. We love everybody who loves us. But we don't love anybody who doesn't love us. We're nonviolent with people who are nonviolent with us. But we are not nonviolent with anyone who is violent with us.
Let me pause it and pull it back for the people who missed it. Who want to talk about violence. All right. We will defend ourselves. I will defend myself. I'm not going to speak for every other African American because some of them scared. Again, I don't care if you're law enforcement. I don't care who you are. You doing wrong in my presence against an innocent person, I'm going to help them out and I'm going to defend myself. Doing wrong against me, I'm going to defend myself. Is it not my constitutional right? Liberty, justice. Let me put it back. I'm not advocating for violence. Violence been here. I am advocating for self-defense. Simple. If I'm not messing with or harassing you, then you have no reason to mess with or harass me. And if you do, I'm taking it as a threat. And I will defend my persons.
It's a very vicious cycle. And usually these bad housing conditions result from the fact, as Mr. Gray has pointed out, of absentee landlords, people who are rich and live downtown and let you and I live up here in the shack. Actually, it's a form of 20th century slavery. And what you and I have to let the man know is we are peaceful people. We are loving people. We love everybody who loves us. But we don't love anybody who doesn't love us. We're nonviolent with people who are nonviolent with us. But we are not nonviolent with anyone who is violent with us. And now that I have the independence of action, it's my intention to work with everybody or against everybody, whatever the case may be, to try and get some kind of immediate solution to the problems that are confronting our people. I still believe the best thing for us to do is go back home to Africa. But while we're getting ready to go back, we've got to eat now, we've got to sleep now, we have to have some clothes now, our children have to go to school, and we need some place to work. So whatever kind of action program can be devised to get us the things that are ours by right, then I'm for that kind of action no matter what the action is. I don't think when a man is being criminally treated that some criminal has the right to tell that man what tactics to use to get the criminal off his back. When a criminal starts misusing me, I am going to use whatever necessary to get that criminal off my back. And the injustice that has been inflicted upon Negroes in this country by Uncle Sam is criminal. Don't blame a cracker in Georgia for your injustices. The government is responsible for the injustices. The government can bring these injustices to halt.
If you say that you're fed up, if you teach the Negro, people don't even know their own name. Why? Because he took it away from them. Please. 20 million black people don't even know their own language. Why? Because he took it away from them. 20 million black people who don't even know the history of their ancestors. Why? Because he took it away from them. And if you try and tell them how thoroughly and completely they've been robbed, he says you're teaching hate. That's something to think about. Today you are coming out of college. You're coming out of the leading universities. You're trying to go in a good direction, but you don't know which direction to go in. And if somebody tries to take you right to the root of your problem, they say that that man's a hate teacher. If I ask why should the senators in Washington, and then again if we tell you that Negroes are being hung on the tree or being shot down illegally, unjustly, and those Negroes should do something to protect themselves, you say you're advocating violence. The white man is tricking you. He's trapping you. He doesn't call it violence when he lands troops in South Vietnam. Please. He doesn't call it violence when he lands troops in Berlin. When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, he didn't say get nonviolent. He said, praise the Lord, but pass the ammunition. But when someone attacks you, when someone comes at you with a club, when someone comes at you with a rope, when someone comes at you with a gun, despite the fact that you've done nothing, he tells you, suffer peacefully. Pray for those who use you despitefully. Be long-suffering. And how long can you suffer after suffering for 400 years?
And there it is. Like I said, I believe in self-defense. Self-defense. If at any point in time, anybody becomes a threat, I have a right to defend myself. That goes back to U.S. psychology. Oh, just sit up and let the police beat you and kill you when they're doing it unlawfully. Oh, but over here in the U.S., I've heard many district attorneys say, and others say, well, the issue becomes police over here have a license to kill. Why? When they took an oath of office to protect and serve. So explain it to me. Sounds like double talk. They're gonna take an oath of office to protect and serve, but then too they have a license to kill. It leads me to believe what I have always believed. These cases need to be tried on a case-by-case basis, and that includes even with the police. Even with the police. Even with the police. A license to kill does not give them a pass to not be held accountable and responsible and to go to the same prisons that you would put every other U.S. citizen in, just like that. No, it can't be a justice system for blue suits or police officers, a justice system for Congress people who be doing wrong too, or Wall Street or whoever else, and then everybody else get a different justice system. What is that? That's not a justice system. That's an injustice system. Malcolm X said it years ago, right along with other leaders. Hold on, Congress. It's your job to legislate on behalf of the people. Again, and people wonder why some of the people start showing up and you haven't seen the turn up. They want to talk about people who've been out there looting. And again, you can go back to the video that I showed the other day on looting. If we want to go down, I said, don't go down the street on me talking about looting. We can go and talk about who really does the real looting over here and has always gotten away with it. And is still getting away with it, but they don't want to term it looting. A thief is a thief is a thief, right? Looting is stealing, right? Right. Okay. So you label one U.S. group of citizens as looters, but you won't label the Congress people who've been up there looting forever as looters and thieves. Okay. Okay. Let's put some perspective on this. See, U.S. psychology at its finest in the games they like to play. Being told to wait again. Oh, just wait. Just remain civil. But you've sent in a group of uncivil police officers, some who wants to be uncivil with people who never should have been police officers in the first place. Putting U.S. citizens on curfews. That's agitating. So what I've seen is different mayors, and I don't care what skin color you are right now, sit up and agitate some U.S. citizens. Excuse me. U.S. psychology at its finest. You've done nothing but agitate a group of U.S. citizens because they not get ready. Every night we see somebody not adhering to curfew. Why? Because you don't want them what? Out there what? Why? Because you want to what? Control what? You want to control what? The thinking process. You want to control what their actions. Oh, just wait. Oh, just wait. Not going home now. It's 6 o'clock. Go home when they've been sheltered in place at home. We saw the anti-shelter in place protesters. Did they get a curfew when they were out there protesting? Did they get a curfew? Did anybody put them on a curfew? I don't care if they came out in the daytime. You could have said your curfew is noon. By noon, y'all gotta be back at home because we sheltering in place right now. SARS2, AKA COVID-19, AKA coronavirus. We're still in a pandemic. So at noon, we have these curfews. So at noon or 1 o'clock, y'all gotta wrap this up and go home. Did we see that? No. U.S. psychology at its finest. U.S. psychology at its finest. Did we see those protesters who refused to shelter in place with guns get tear gassed with a lot of ammunition? No. Many of them, some of them, were spitting in the faces of officers. Did we see them get tear gas? No. Did we see the U.S. military get called in for them? No. Were they issuing direct threats with an ability to carry it out? Yes. U.S. psychology at its finest. Yeah. Yeah. So we see another group of protesters being harassed and terrorized by police. Everybody is not out there breaking a window and burning stuff up. Again, over 75% plus of the people are not, and they are still being harassed, bullied, and terrorized by police. And now you got the military involved in certain things. U.S. psychology at its finest. When the military should have been called in because you had protesters out there threatening people who refused to shelter in place with guns and ammunition, they didn't get called in. And the use of tear gas in the United States of America is supposed to be illegal. I thought that was illegal. Okay. No, no. That's not cool. Let me go to Detroit riots. Again, I believe in self-defense. Am I advocating for violence? No. Am I advocating for self-defense? Yes. Do I believe humans have a right to defend themselves if their persons are being threatened? Yes, I do. There's always costs associated with anything that you do. Anything that you do. Again, I will not intentionally harm anyone, but if my persons are threatened, I will defend myself.
They're going to use.
As Governor of the State of Michigan, I do hereby officially request the immediate deployment of federal troops into Michigan to assist state and local authorities in reestablishing law and order in the city of Detroit. I am joined in this request by Jerome P. Kavanaugh, Mayor of the city of Detroit.
We're here at the request of Governor Romney. We're about to go downtown and meet with him and with Mayor Kavanaugh and to discuss such specific plans for support and assistance as may be required.
Law and order have broken down in Detroit, Michigan. Pillage, looting, murder, and arson have nothing to do with civil rights.
About civil rights, it's about police brutality. Y'all was racial profiling.
After I was shot, I just fell to, right to the pavement because I didn't know how many shots were coming off after that.
Were you bewildered or angry or what?
I don't think it's right for my people to act the way that they're acting. This is all that I can say about the thing because we're fighting one war now in Vietnam and we were losing as it is. So, I mean, why should we come back here and fight a war among ourselves?
Again, it took 3 days to put out the fires in downtown Detroit in 1967. Police brutality and racial profiling. Due to the fact that the police, again, was murdering African American people. Men and women, and beating them up. Again, I had to flash back to history and not act like the reoccurring events are new. The reoccurring of events are new. When you don't learn from history, it will repeat itself. When you don't take action like you should in historical moments, history will repeat itself. When people are not aware of the psychological games that have been played on them, history will keep repeating itself. When people are bamboozled and hoodwinked out of voting and putting officials or even running for the office to enact the change, or even showing up in your state to present a bill to your legislators, history will repeat itself. A psychological game have been played on you when you allow people that you vote for to take their behinds up there and hear me good and sit down and not legislate on your behalf and just take a paycheck home and not care about you. History will repeat itself. Let me repeat that again. When you vote legislators in and you allow them to sit up there and not legislate anything that's advantageous on your behalf and just take a paycheck home, history will repeat itself. When you are not engaged and you are not actively involved because you don't understand or recognize the importance in voting, district attorneys in, judges in, legislators in, history will repeat itself. Where are we again today? History repeating itself again. Now I'm gonna pause it right here, and I'm gonna go to the riot and the protests of 1992. My first year, my second year going into college, 1992, in Los Angeles. Because I heard a business owner say these exact things again. This is downtown LA. I heard a business owner from African-American business owner. Where's he from? Either Georgia or Kentucky, saying the exact same things or similar things to what this gentleman said in 1992 due to riots from Los Angeles, California. When you do not learn from history, history repeats itself. When you do not course correct injustices, history will repeat itself. I can only defer back to what real freedom fighters and real civil rights leaders, activists, and real human rights leaders and activists said. I would now defer and paraphrase something that Martin Luther King said. When there's a delay of justice during the winter, you can expect riots in the summers. I will now defer back to what Malcolm X said. It is the U.S. government's responsibility to legislate on the behalf. And when we do not hold them accountable, nothing happens. When we do not hold them responsible, nothing happens. When we don't do recalls to get them out, when they don't do right, nothing will happen. You don't vote, you're not being part of a solution. Somebody has bamboozled, hoodwinked, and duped you to thinking that your vote does not count or matter. You don't run for office, if you don't start running for these offices and becoming a legislator, if we don't start educating ourselves to be that judge, to be that district attorney, to preside over these cases, to bring the charges, we'll continue to be bamboozled. We'll continue to be bamboozled, and history will continue to repeat itself. Let's flash back real quick.
This is my business. You know, I pay you. If you didn't think it's too damn bad, but don't destroy my stuff. Don't burn down my soul. Come on, Uncle. I worked too hard for this.
People don't even understand nothing. Come on.
It's not right. It's not right. It's not right what y'all doing. I came from the ghetto too. Same as all of you did.
Y'all need to listen.
But you know, y'all mess up my business. And you call it black power. You mad the why destroy my business? Why destroy my truck? Why steal my computer? I'm trying to make it. Could you understand that? Can't y'all see it? I'm trying to make it.
Just start listening. I gotta do my job. Hey, man, hey, why you doing this in your community, man? These clothes belong to some of your neighbors. No. You don't care? I don't care. Why? I mean, but what? How can you explain this, man? Is this gonna solve anything?
I'm 39, be 40 in a couple months, and so help me God, I never seen parents teaching children to steal. I mean, breaking the windows down and pushing the kids in the store to steal. If I had done that, my mom would beat the stuffings out of me if she had caught me stealing. But these parents teaching their kids to steal, I can't understand.
And that was part of the 1992 riots in LA, Los Angeles, California. And unfortunately, like I said, mom and pop stores or certain stores who have worked hard all their life to acquire their things are being caught in a crossfire. Big businesses, they sitting up on money. So I care less about whatever, because most of them, some of them haven't been paying any taxes. So I really don't care. I don't care. That's right, I said it, I don't care. Because they've been looped from the American people, so I don't care about that. But for the small mom and pop stores who have been paying taxes and things like that, like I said, they get caught in a crossfire. They're caught up in a crossfire. And because they're caught up in a crossfire, it becomes my responsibility to push my legislative body to pass some bills that would be advantageous for the mom and pop stores to receive some compensation and help them rebuild. Congress, you can do that. You're not going to play a psychological game on me and think that there's no help for them and allow me to think that there's no help for them. They've been paying their taxes. We just watched y'all pass Careless Act. We watched y'all pass bill after bill, 2009, 2020. We sit up every year and watch y'all move money and legislate and pass these bills. It's simple to me. Senate and Congress better get to legislating on behalf of these stores. It's simple to me. But they're not gonna play this psychological game. Come on, the looters, they're just taking, Not when you can pass a bill and move the money. Don't play with me. Don't play. You're not gonna keep playing the psychological games that y'all be playing on other people and get them all in a pandemonium and cause them really not to sit down and think like they should and process information like it should be processed. You're not gonna get me in a pandemonium like that because I'm sitting up watching the way you moving the money at the federal level and the bills you passing. If you can, I'll just be. If y'all can allow Mitch McConnell to sit up and put sunscreen, the manufacturing and production of sunscreen in an act that was supposed to be for coronavirus, that was a medical emergency that should have only been about helping the US citizens medically, hospitals, covering insurances, resources, and running the people money, but you can sit up and allow him to put the manufacturing and production of sunscreen on page 470, which has nothing to do with coronavirus. Don't sit up and tell me you cannot move money to these people. We just set up and watch y'all give big businesses tax breaks while you play the game with the small businesses and allow these looting thugs who still have yet to be arrested to come in there and game the system. Don't tell me nothing about not helping the rest of these mom and pop stores who have been stripped down, where people have been redistributing resources from their stores to their homes. Don't tell me you can't help them, because I'm not going to hear that. Again, I have to push back on the news media. Again, I have to push back on senators and congresspeople who come out when they should be legislating the money right now, moving the money right now. They got Americans and pandemoniums too focused on the looting, or that what they like to call the looting that's going on. I'm paying attention to Betsy DeVos loot, 2.2 billion. Yeah. I'm paying attention to Mitch McConnell loot. I'm paying attention to Wall Street loot. I'm paying attention to senators and congresspeople who trying to hide their loot. I'm paying attention to Pinocchio #1 loot. Y'all, the legislators, legislate. Move the money. Move it. Right to these businesses. Move it. It's simple. Don't sit up and think people that everybody's going to sit up here and believe that there's no hope for these people whose businesses have been destroyed. Don't play that game with me. Move the money. Move it. It's called a bill. It's called an act. Move it. State level, you can move the money. You can move some money to these businesses too. Move it. State legislators, move the money. No, U.S. psychology. A diversion. So I'm on a move the money campaign. Congress, senators, move the money. State legislators, House of Representatives, move money. In the Senate, on the state level, move the money. I'm on a move the money campaign. Mayors, get up off your behinds and move the money. Time to start redirecting funds. All right? Let's start redirecting some funds as they should be fitly redirected to the people. Yeah, Fire Mama, let me tell you this. The U.S. government responsibility, they better feed the people. Stores shut down, they need to move the money. They moved the money to Wall Street. They've moved the money to big businesses. I can show you bill after bill after bill. Like I said, Betsy DeVos just looted 2.2 billion from U.S. taxpaying students. They set up and allow businesses like J. Alexander, Potbelly, AT Technology, and others to fraudulently file claims and get money during this pandemic that they never needed, that they never qualified, and they gave it to them. We just set up and watched them pass these bills. They can move money. Don't play. Don't play. Simple. Flick of the wrist. Flick of the wrist. Flick of the wrist. They need to get in there and start flicking the wrist. And move it to the president and tell him, you will sign it. We didn't ask you. We're telling you, you will sign this. Flick of the wrist. Stroke of the pen. Stroke of the pencil. Flick of the wrist. Stroke of some keyboards. Flick of the wrist. They can move money to these people. So for any congressperson, to me at this point, anybody in any office to sit up and continue to say, oh my God, it's disingenuous, especially when you had the ability to move money to the mom and pop stores. I don't want to hear the disingenuous that's falling from their lips. I don't want to hear it. Move some money. Redirect some funds. And why should people in America be starving anyway when this is supposed to be the wealthiest nation in the world? Things that make you go, They like to sit out and say, well, a lot of people just trifling and lazy. They don't want to do nothing. That's not true. That's not true. You got people working. You had people out there working 2 to 3 jobs because wages didn't keep up with inflation prices. And the living wage didn't keep up with where we are today. And you got greedy, looting, thieving businesses and wealthy people doing what they do best, looting, stealing, and thieving, running some psychology on everybody else or attempting. U.S. psychology at its best. That's some psychology. That's a psychological mind. I'm calling the U.S. bluff. Legislate some money right back down to these mom and pop stores. Redirect some funds right back to these stores. They need not play these games. They need not play these games. By the way, reparations, the man that owned BET called for $14 trillion in reparations for African American people. That's not enough money. I agree with it being in the trillions, but that's not enough money. While we're talking about it, because my great aunt, 98, she's still living. Her mind is still there. Usually people on my mother's side live to be into their hundreds. For the people who are still in their hundreds and 90s that are still living, and their descendants, Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921. Showed that the other day. What was supposed to be happening before this pandemic happened is all those ballparks that they have African American bodies buried under were supposed to be dug up so they can be identified. We still have yet to move money to the offspring of the people in a village destroyed in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. We haven't moved money to them yet either. Which should be double for their trouble and triple for their shame. United States government, since you want to move money, move the money. Election have results and consequences. Election have results and consequences. For anybody sitting up telling you It don't matter who's in office. I would say to that person, they either, one, flat out telling a lie, two, don't really understand the process, three, have been deceived. Those are my three for them. Shout out to everyone around the world who has been standing with America. Shout out to all the nations in the world who have Australia flooded the streets. Paris flooded the streets. Africa has been out. Canada. Everybody has been out standing in solidarity against police brutality. Power to the people. Nigeria, shout out, because this is where I was supposed to be right now. This is where I was supposed to be this year, later on in the year. I was supposed to be a couple of months in Nigeria, in Africa. A couple of weeks over there. A month plus. Let me pull this video up I want to show. I should have queued it. I got another one queued up in the background. Again, this is Africa calling out specific leaders or people that they deem to be leaders over there, or people that they respected over there in Africa. African American people over here that they respected or had some type of deference for, days ago calling them out, saying where y'all at. You want to have a talk show all day. Want to have a radio show all day. Where y'all at? Some people have been on the ground. Ricky Smiley been on the ground. We already knew he was going to be on the ground protesting. Some others have been on the ground involved in protesting. We already knew Colin Kaepernick was going to come in. We already knew that. We knew certain ones was just going to be involved. We already knew it. LeBron James, we already knew certain ones were going to be involved, but those are not the ones that they're talking about. They're talking about the other ones. They're talking about some other ones who they see on the news media all the time. Who they see in the news a lot. They talking about them. And what they said was, with the one lady, from Africa said was, since you can't speak for your people over there, and George Floyd's voice, we'll stand up and speak. And they directly called out Oprah Winfrey. They called out Steve Harvey. They talking about some other ones over here. They called them out. They said, where y'all at? Y'all took too long to speak. What they're saying is, from my perspective is, we see you running everything else all the time. We see you over there doing document. Don't think the world don't be watching. We see y'all sit up and do everything else all the time. Where y'all at on this? Let me pull this video up. Sorry, apologies for any loud clicks in the background. By the way, I don't know if anybody's been watching African news. I do. I keep up with international news that's things that's going on globally. And Africa is ridding them, parts of the continent of Africa are ridding themselves from colonialism, any form of colonialism. Certain parts of Africa saying French is no longer the dominant language. English will no longer be the dominant language. They are not rocking with any foreign currency anymore, making that dominant. They're rocking with their own that they have always had. They're making that a dominant currency in certain parts of the continent of Africa. Let me pull her up. Okay, this is the one right here. I'm just curious about the one that I want to show. Let me make sure no commercials are on here. Let me get past the commercials. By the way, Google is being sued for a couple of $1 billion. Alphabet, the parent company, they're being sued for billions of dollars. Again. All right. Break this down. So here we go. It's been a lot of African leaders over there paying attention to what's going over here in the US. Not only African leaders who've been paying attention, residents from the continent of Africa. Remember, it's different countries in Africa. On the continent of Africa have been paying attention to what's been going on over there. And they've been speaking. As well as the fact that a Cambodian, which is on the continent of Africa, was also murdered this past weekend for no reason by the police. So this is Africa calling people who always want to be running out, who usually have had the dominant or a dominance in the airwaves over here for years, like Oprah, Steve Harvey, and some others. They called them out. Some Africans are calling them out. Not just Don Lemon, when he said Hollywood. Where y'all at? You to some of the rappers and the actors. It's been a lot of people getting called out on this issue because they sat by too long silent, and they don't see them running video and documentaries every day, all day, and they don't see them talking about this issue, but they hear them talking about other stuff, gossip, social media topics and gossip. They hear them caught up into that, but they waited a little bit too long and was a little bit too silent on this right here, even though they eventually cavalierly came out and said something. And that's why they started stepping up and saying, no, where y'all at? I don't do respect to persons. I'm gonna tell you that right there. Never have, never will. And I watch myself consistently to make sure that I don't. I'm not going to honor a billionaire over a regular, or what's considered a regular person, or a person who don't have $1 billion. I don't do that. I'm not going to sit up and idolize nobody. No, we're all people. We're all human. Period. Period. So they call them out. They're calling them out because a lot of people want to say, "Oh, they just whatever." But let me show the video. Whatever. I said it. Whatever. I don't do respect to persons. Let me show the video. Whatever. Here we go.
Let's move and stay. Come on. Don't break your space. Carry that camera. Carry your distance. Four. Pull your placard. Take your placard up.
Nigeria.
Solidarity forever.
And it gets bigger. It's more people. It gets bigger and bigger.
If there was no cameras, this thing would have gone under the gutter. The oppressions of the black. I pray today that we send this message to the president.
If we must survive the fangs of the whites, whose desire is to see to the extinction of the entire black race in the world. Of course, you can tell from the recent COVID-19, where they have gathered together to say their agenda is for the depopulation of Africa. And of course, it will never happen. This is over 50 years down the line when the late Martin Luther King Jr. spoke about the emancipation of blacks in the United States of America. I want to say something here. I want to also call out our black brothers and sisters in America, Oprah Winfrey, Steve Harvey, Tyler Perry, Dionne Warwick, and the rest. Martin Luther King paid the maximum price for them to be what they think they are today. As a black person, you can never really amount to anything. So if they are going to keep silent over this matter, if they are not going to come out as we are coming out in Africa, tomorrow South Africa is marching, day after tomorrow Ghana is marching. One black life is equal to 10 rednecks. If they are not going to come out because they are so afraid they cannot say what that needs to be said, we are going to speak for them. Now, we are not unmindful that some of us have come here out of great trials and tribulations. Some of us have come fresh from narrow jail cells.
From whoever reported.
And some of you and some of us have come from where our quest for freedom left us battered by the storms of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You have been the veterans of creative suffering. These words of Martin Luther King reverberate till date in the United States of America. Black lives matter, and racial discrimination must stop in the interest of peace, unity, and progress. If this does not stop, Africans, we must take our destinies into our hands and fight for our rights, because according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, we are all born free. We are all born equal. Nobody is more equal than the other. We all have our thoughts and our ideas, and we should be all treated the same way. The rights in the UDHR belong to everyone, no matter who we are, where we are from, or whatever we believe. We all have the right to life and to live in freedom and safety. No one, and I again repeat, no one should be held as a slave, and no one has the right to treat anyone else as their slave or snuff life out of them. It is deemed unacceptable.
That's the way Africa been getting down. In case people didn't sleep, because people don't use sleep. So I just thought I'd play that up. Now, when I said they called out some Americans over here, like they said, you enjoyed somebody else's labor. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and every freedom fighter, civil rights fighter, human rights fighter, which includes Harriet Tubman, which includes all of them, all of them that label, not just the ones who names people always bring up, the other ones too. So you got Africans over there sitting up looking at the ones, like they said, whoever you think you are, or whatever status you think you have arrived over here in the United States of America. Somebody paid a way for you to get there. And you want to dance and skirt around the issue. You don't want to come right out and say what needs to be said. You want to take too long to speak on the issue. You don't want to talk about the issue all the time, like it should be brought up. Africa say they're gonna say it. They're gonna say it for you because you're too scared to say it. See, over there they understand psychological game being played, US psychology. You too concerned about your money and your viewership to come out and speak. Some of them are. To come out and say what needs to be said. Where are their segments on, where are their programs on the US system over here, how the judicial system works, how the election process runs? Where are those programs at every day? Are they? I grew up watching programs like that. I grew up having it taught in the home as well as taught in the school. For the Oprahs and whoever, whatever, the ones who have the $1 billion because they made it off the backs of other African-American viewership. Where is your voice at? Where you at? I know about some of them little schools. I know about the donations they be giving. No. Africa said, where's your programs at? Every day, all day. You can be on TV. You want to be on TV? You want to be on the radio? This is what you should be running. Educate people. Sitting up with some doggone dramatic shows all the time. Excuse me. People have a right to watch whatever they want to watch. However, I'm not one of those people who will sit up. I'm not. Do I do reality television? No. I'm not. Do I like these little T channels around here who always gossiping and in somebody else's business, always got some drama going? No, I don't care for it. My perspective, it's always been too much going on. I have time to be sitting up involved in that when somebody getting murdered and killed unjustly. When I got legislators looting the American people. I don't have no time for that. Now, that's why Africa is calling them out, because they set up and watched them R. Kelly documentaries. They set up and watched that Jesse Smollett stuff, doing African-American history previous year. Where they wanted to be all involved in that instead of focusing on the murders over here by the cops that's been taking place, and the cops who were never charged for. Then they always want to run over to Africa and start crying as soon as they fly in there. Excuse me, let me go here right now. Always want to run over to Africa and then start crying when they get off the airplane and get all emotional. You have a right to cry. It's an emotion. Fear, anger, all of that is part of emotion. Soulish reactions, soulish responses. No, people are always sitting up watching what the United States are doing, especially African-American billionaires over here, or the ones who they think should be the voice and use their platform to be a voice over here to a greater degree and scale of what they do. They've been watching. Kerensz, will you watch half of those shows and programs? No, because they're stereotypical to me. They portray African-American people in a certain light. And there are no ethnic group of people who all run the same and all had the same results. Everybody ain't cheating. Everybody's not stealing from ethnic groups. There are some pastors who do have integrity, some. Everybody ain't taking a side door deal and a backdoor deal and an underhanded deal. Yeah, so a lot of stuff I'm not going to watch. Television, telling you a vision, television, telling you a vision, desensitizing you, reprogramming you. Certain things I don't watch, will never watch. Because I don't rock that way. We'll never rock that way. Television. Seeing people be catty, like crabs in a bucket. Tearing people down instead of building them up. And understand this, I'm this type of person. You got one time to do something to me that's cross and it's a done deal, it's over, forget a kumbaya. You stay over there, I'll forgive you, but you stay over there and I'll be over here. I'm not fit to interact, be involved in that. I'm that person. Come at me for no reason, for no valid reason, and I've done nothing to you. No, don't ever think that you could just sit up in my presence or that I'm going to entertain. No, I'm not that person. Don't think it's going to be a kumbaya. Don't think we're going to have a kumbaya moment. We won't. We won't. You can apologize. People can apologize. And I accept it. Give you and move on. Forgiveness don't mean you have to be in my space. Because my parents taught me this, and my mother said all the time, when people show you who they are, believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe them. And my father taught me, it's certain people you don't want to be around because they will get you killed, or when it's time to fight, they won't. They'll leave. See, this is the way I was brought up. The instructions of a father. Certain people, you watch, you observe. When a deal goes down, some people will leave you because they're scared. Some people won't speak up because they're scared. Or some people will mess around and cause your life to end because of some stuff they own. But Oprah, Tyler Perry, all the rest of them. And Tyler Perry has been transporting a family around on his helicopter. So I will acknowledge that. They've been donating money. Now, the same billionaire who paid the college tuition for Morehouse last year covered all expenses for the family, George Floyd's family. He covered all expenses. He said he got it. He said he got it. So I'm gonna acknowledge that too. No, he didn't do much pontificating about it. He just said, I got it. You know, other people have been given and given, and he said, no, I got it. I got all of it. I got it. I handle it. And see, like I said, when other people are viewing this, especially from the continent of Africa, I know they were expecting maybe the Oprahs and the rest of them to come out and say, I got it, I'm handling it, because they want to, ooh, let me stop. This is not a bash Oprah section. Again, it's just certain people, whatever, I watch the way you move, whatever. And see topics come across, whatever. So move on off that, because I'm not here to assassinate their characters. They just been called out on some actions or the lack thereof. And again, I don't do respect a person. No. And if you've ever seen me conduct a meeting, you will see that. And to a lot of elected officials, it's quite shocking when I conduct meetings, when they get to speak with, when I have conducted meetings where they've got to speak with the people. When I say everybody gets 5 minutes, everybody gets 5 minutes. When I say you have 5 minutes to respond or I will cut your microphone, I mean it. I mean it. You can be a Senate, you can be a citizen or an elected official. I will do that. I will wrap it up. I will. Now, people get confused. They see me on here, but when you get me in another setting, no, I'm not going to have no respect to persons. I'm not going to do that. I don't care how much money you got. So what? So what? Care, like she said, or whoever they think they are, or whatever they think they have ascribed to. So what? Money is a tool to be used as, it's a tool. It's supposed to be a resource. Some people have more of it, some people have less. And that's part of US psychology too, having respect of persons. Let me go here real quick while we're talking about protests, because like I said, I have heard protesters get called everything under the sun. Based off media, having respect of persons. Because they wouldn't sit up there and call nobody who got billions and trillions of dollars thugs, looters, and stuff like that. They have respect of persons. US psychology. Yeah. Respect of persons. Yeah. You want to label this group as such, but you won't use that same label for somebody else to create a stigma. Yeah. I don't do respect of persons. I don't care who they are. And there's been a lot of pastors who have found out too. I don't do respect of persons. I don't care who you are. I don't care. For no clergy, pastor, prophet, evangelist, teacher, no billionaire, no millionaire, no congressperson, no senator. No, I don't do respect of persons. People are people. That's why Africa went the way they went. That's why she went there. Yeah, my parents didn't bring me up there. I had respect the person. No, they didn't. Absolutely not. So I believe everyone should be treated like human beings. Everyone should be treated civilly. Now, somebody's threatening you, by all means, defend yourself, protect yourself. I believe in that too. By all means, defend yourself and your persons and protect yourself and your persons. I believe in that. If you're being viciously, verbally attacked or physically attacked, protect your persons. I believe in that. but I don't believe in respect of persons. So, again, after this, let's see what's going to happen, because we've set up and seen it happen for years. And when you are in a place or a position to help people, and you have the monies to help them, and you have the resources to educate people and to train up people for free, make sure you do it. When you have the resources to fly them in and train them for free, make sure you do it. I'll say it again. When you have the resources to make sure you can train up people and educate up people and uplift people for free, make sure you do it. I come from a different philosophy. My father told me a long time ago, don't ever let anybody buy you out. Don't let the price of your voice be bought by $1 from nobody. I'm gonna let that sink in on some. Okay. So with that being said, let me get off here. Thank everybody for streaming. Let's go back out on the revolution would not be televised. Real simple. Let's remember, we look up, we get up. There is resilience on the inside of us. Fix this if we choose it to be so. Let's stay woke. Let's stay vigilant. Let's not let anybody sit up and make sure this is the right video I got up in the background. Let's not let the U.S. sit up and use this thing on psychology they've been using forever on people. Remember, we are still in a pandemic. So remember to shelter in place. Have your glasses and your gloves on. Like I said, I've been out protesting too, but when I'm out, I'm all masked up, gloves, shield, same thing. Let's make sure as people that we don't get to the point we start having respect of persons, and that we treat everyone equally, and we treat people based on the content of their character, and that we're not out here, that we don't become a part of a group that's out here not enlightening people and attempting to exploit another person. Let's not be part of that group. Be better than that. And we know if we can look up, we can get up. But when you're looking up and you're getting up, remember to pull the people who are around you up too. And the reason that's smart to do is because you don't want them, like we've heard the other people say, taking your stuff. Make sure they can get some too. It's enough for everybody. You can have a lot or you can have a little. Makes no difference. Just make sure that you tap into the humanitarian on the inside of you. Help somebody else along the way. No, with that being said, thank you all so much for streaming. All links to the description. In the description, all links will be dropped below. Remember, we're in the election season. Educate as many people as you can on voting. If anyone needs to understand, and the other day I said I don't understand why people will. If anyone needs to understand the voting process, let me know. And I think I still got some packets somewhere. I don't want to type all that stuff up over again, but I would try to see if I can dig it out of the basement and scan it and send it out. Or I may just have to redo some things all over again. I can do that too. Let's make sure we're staying vigilant. We have our 2020 vision. Let's make sure we don't fall into an arena of having no respect of persons. The other day, I called Pinocchio. Y'all know that's number 45. I'm talking about a skank. And when I called him a skank, I have reason to call him a skank. It's based on his character. Different wives and avidly cheating on those wives with multiple women. So when I said skank, that's what I meant. He needs a lot of help. And he needs to hear the truth from somebody. Because that mess he's been doing is not cute. So with that being said, let's remember to continue to shelter in place. Let me do my moment of silence. I did not do it at the beginning for those who have lost their lives through police brutality, through regular illnesses, through disasters, through coronavirus, for any other reason. Now, with that being said, let's remember we look up, we get up, let's tap into the resilience and the warrior on the inside of us. Stay safe and plenty much love to everybody.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nub. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still life of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of Harry armed women liberationists and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose. The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Keys, nor sung by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with Coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
So remember that. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is always live. With that being said, thank you all for streaming. Plenty much love. Make sure you take care of your family, and bye-bye, everybody. Be safe, stay vigilant, and strap up if you need to.